Iris adjusted the dark wig she had slipped over her sleek blonde hair. Her expensive dress was gone, replaced with an outfit that blended in with the crowd. She stood before a mirror in the women's restroom, breathing slowly, calculating every move. If she could not tear Nick away from Jenna face to face, she would do it from underneath, quietly, precisely, without mercy. No one humiliates Iris Hayes. Not Maid. Not a fatherless child. Not even Nick. She stepped back into the mall's bustling corridor, eyes narrowed, scanning for the small boy who had slipped from her grasp. Owen was somewhere, and the crowds felt enormous. Music, chatter, laughter, it all blended into a dizzying blur. Yet her mind was as sharp and cold as glass. She spotted him, tiny shoulders hunched, wiping his eyes with the back of his sleeve, trying not to look scared. He was walking fast, and every so often he turned, as if hoping to see Jenna or Nick. Hope was a cruel thing. Iris started forward again. Meanwhile, Jenna was frantic. Owen! Owen! She pushed through groups of shoppers, her heart slamming so hard she thought it might burst. Nick was already calling mall security, his voice taut and icy with urgency. He couldn't have gone far, Nick said, though his jaw was clenched tight. Nick, if anything happens to him, Jenna gasped. Nothing will happen. I won't allow it, Nick vowed, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. They split directions. The mall felt too bright, too loud, too endless. Owen ran, weaving through bodies, tears shaking his small frame. He didn't want to cry. He tried so hard to be strong. Mom Jenna always said strong hearts don't break easily. But his heart felt like glass now. He bumped into someone and fell. Warm hands reached to help him up. Hey, it's okay, sweetheart. It was Samantha. Samantha, with her sharp voice and rolled-up sleeves and tired eyes, but who always softened when Owen smiled. SS Samantha, Owen stammered. There you are, she breathed, scooping him into her arms. Oh, thank God. Jenna is losing her mind looking for you. Owen wrapped his arms around her neck and cried freely now. I thought I lost Mom Jenna, he sobbed. And Mr. Nick. And everyone. I thought. Sure. Samantha held him tighter, heart squeezing. We're here. You're safe. But as she stood, she noticed a woman nearby. A woman watching. A woman whose eyes did not blink. Samantha recognized those eyes. Iris, disguised but unmistakable. Samantha's spine stiffened. She didn't run. She walked, fast but controlled, toward the nearest open corridor, shielding Owen with her body. Iris didn't chase this time. She simply smiled, because she had seen something Samantha hadn't. Two men in suits observing from a distance. Her people. This game had just begun. Jenna spotted Samantha soon after. Owen, Jenna cried, sprinting toward them. She dropped to her knees and wrapped the child in her arms so tightly he nearly squeaked. But Owen just hugged her back with everything he had. Mom Jenna, he whispered, voice trembling. I'm here. I'm here. You're safe. You're safe. Her tears fell silently, sliding into his hair. Nick arrived seconds later, breath tight, relief washing over his features. He placed his hand on Owen's back. The three of them stayed like that for several long moments, bound by something deeper than anyone could see. Family was not always made by blood. Sometimes it was carved by love. Back at the mansion, silence followed them. Owen clung to Jenna's side while Nick paced slowly, hands in his pockets. Samantha leaned against the wall, shaking her head. That woman is dangerous, she warned. Nick exhaled sharply. I know. No, Nick. You don't know, Samantha said firmly. Women like her don't stop because they were rejected. They destroy. Jenna held Owen a little tighter. Nick's gaze softened when he looked at the two of them. This house, he said quietly, is no longer just mine. I will protect you both, no matter what it takes. Samantha folded her arms. Then we start by telling everyone in this mansion who Owen really is. Jenna flinched. Nick looked at her gently. Jenna, is it time to tell the truth? Her throat tightened. Yes. Yes, it was. Secrets had protected her once. But now, they threatened everything. Jenna lowered her gaze and spoke softly. Owen, sweetie, I'm not actually your mom. Owen blinked. I know, he said. The room stopped. Jenna's breath caught. Why, you knew? Owen nodded slowly. I heard you and Miss Samantha talking once, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want you to send me away." Jenna broke completely. She wrapped Owen in her arms and sobbed into his shoulder. "I would never, never send you away." Owen closed his eyes, tears streaming too. "You're my mom because my heart says so." Nick's chest tightened. Samantha covered her mouth. Even the walls seemed to breathe differently, warmed by something holy. Love, pure, unconditional, unbreakable. But miles away, in a dim, forgotten apartment bedroom lit only by the buzzing yellow of a broken bulb, Emily sat at the edge of her bed, staring at an old photograph. Her husband, a child with a shy smile, the child she had abandoned. Her life had fallen apart. Debts doubled. The business dissolved. Her marriage fractured into cruel words and silence. She had blamed the boy, but now she wondered, had the boy been the blessing, and she the curse? She wiped her eyes, then stood. Redemption is slow, but guilt runs faster than blood. She picked up her bag. She would go to New York. She would find him, even if he never forgave her, especially then. But Iris was moving too, and her steps were faster, her smile sharper, her heart colder. She had found the one truth that could turn love into ruin, the truth that would bring Jenna to her knees. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon, very soon. She walked into the night, heels clicking like countdown ticks. "Let's see," she murmured, "whose heart breaks first." The world shifted. The storm was coming, and none of them were ready. Night settled over the city like a dark velvet curtain, its lights glittering like constellations descended to earth. Inside the mansion, the atmosphere had shifted. There was warmth now, fragile, tender, as though one spark of anger could shatter the peace they had begun to build. Owen was asleep in Jenna's bed, curled under her arm, his tiny fingers clutching her shirt even in sleep, as if afraid that if he let go, she too would disappear. Jenna stroked his hair, her heart heavy. He knew. He had known all along, and yet he stayed. He chose her, and that truth was more profound than anything she had ever dreamed of deserving. A knock came at her door, soft, careful. Jenna glanced down at Owen. He did not stir. She rose gently, tucking the blanket around him with a tenderness that belonged only to mothers, no matter what blood said. She stepped to the door and opened it just enough. Nick stood there. Lights from the hallway cast his silhouette in gold. His shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, sleeves rolled to his forearms, hair mussed from running his hands through it repeatedly. He looked tired, not the tired that came from work or stress, the tired that came from caring too much and not knowing what to do with it. "Can we talk?" he asked. Jenna hesitated, then nodded and stepped into the hallway, closing the door softly behind her. They walked to the balcony at the far end of the hallway, a quiet place overlooking the moonlit gardens. The fountain below glimmered under the pale light. Jenna held her hands clasped in front of her, unsure what to do with them. Nick leaned on the railing, looking out into the night. For a while there was silence. Then, "I'm glad he's safe," Nick said quietly. "Me too," Jenna replied. Her voice trembled despite her efforts to steady it. "I thought I lost him. Nick, I don't think I've ever been so scared." "You love him," Nick said, not as a question, but as truth spoken aloud. Jenna nodded. "Yes, more than anything." Nick turned his head, studying her. "That it doesn't matter if you're not his biological mother. You're his mother, Jenna." Her breath shook. "You really believe that?" "I've seen mothers who gave birth but never cared," Nick said, voice deep, honest. "And I've seen people who weren't given children, but became parents through love. Owen knows who his mother is. And it's you." Tears pricked Jenna's eyes. She stared out at the fountain so they wouldn't fall. Nick stood closer, not touching her, but close enough that his presence was a grounding warmth. "There's something else," Nick said, his tone shifting. Jenna looked up at him. "Iris knows something," Nick continued, voice firm. "She's planning something, and I don't know what it is yet." Jenna tensed. "Iris won't stop," Nick said. "She will try to destroy you." "And Owen." Jenna swallowed hard. "Why?" "Because you and I." "Yes," Nick said quietly. "Because there were feelings now. Real ones. Unspoken but blooming fast. I want to keep you both safe," Nick said. Ow, Jenna whispered. I don't know yet. His jaw tightened. But I will. I swear it. The night wind brushed their hair. They stood there until silence softened the tension between them, until Jenna found herself leaning slightly, just slightly, toward him, and Nick did the same, not touching, not crossing the line, but close enough to feel the pull, close enough for their hearts to know. Across the city, a bus rumbled down a long, dark highway, its headlights cutting through the night. Inside, Emily sat with her hands clenched in her lap. Her clothes were worn. Her eyes carried sleepless days. The weight of regret had become her only companion. She replayed that day in New York over and over. Owen counted 10, smiling, trusting her. And she had run from a child who only knew how to love. She closed her eyes now. She had no idea where to start. New York was enormous, but she would search every street if she had to. Please, she whispered to anyone listening, let me find him. Let me fix at least one thing in my life. Outside the window, city lights flickered closer. Back at the mansion, morning arrived. Sunlight streamed gently through the curtains, casting golden warmth over Jenna and Owen as they ate breakfast. Owen was excitedly telling Samantha about a dream where he rode a dragon to school. And then the dragon sneezed and fire went everywhere, but it didn't burn anything because it was nice fire, he said, arms flailing with enthusiasm. Samantha laughed. A polite dragon. How fortunate. Nick watched them from across the table. The sight warmed him more deeply than he expected. Family. He had forgotten what that felt like, but it was returning now, piece by piece. He didn't notice the housekeeper approach him until she spoke. Sir, there is someone at the gate, she said. They say they know Miss Jenna. Jenna looked up, startled. Someone who... The housekeeper hesitated. She says her name is Emily. The color drained from Jenna's face. Owen froze, spoon suspended midway to his mouth. Nick rose instantly. Keep Owen inside, he instructed, voice becoming the steel that once ran entire continents of business. Jenna nodded and stood, but Owen grabbed her hand. Mom, please don't leave me. I'm not, she whispered, kneeling. No matter what happens, I'm right beside you. Nick placed a reassuring hand on Owen's shoulder. That's a promise, Jenna said. Then she turned and followed Nick to the gate. Emily stood just beyond the wrought iron bars. She looked smaller than Jenna remembered, her posture bent, her skin pale, her hair pulled into a messy bun. Her clothes did not match the world around her. She looked tired, broken, and desperately human. Her eyes lifted and saw Jenna. For a moment, Emily said nothing. The silence was heavy, stretching, as though time itself held its breath. Finally, you, Emily whispered. Jenna did not move. Emily took a trembling step forward. Is he here? She asked, voice cracking. Nick's expression was unreadable stone. Why? He asked. Emily swallowed a sob. I need to see him. Jenna took a slow breath. Why now? She asked quietly. After everything? Emily's chin quivered. I was wrong, she whispered. I thought he was a burden. I thought he ruined our lives. But it was us. We ruined ourselves. I left him. I left a child who only ever tried to love us. Her voice shattered. I have nothing now, nothing but regret. And I deserve that. But please let me see him. Just once. I'm not here to take him. I just need to see him. Jenna looked into her eyes and saw truth. Not excuses, not manipulation, just heartbreak. Nick spoke gently. Jenna, it's your decision. Jenna closed her eyes. Her heart ached. Slowly, she nodded. I'll bring him. Emily sobbed into her hands. When Owen stepped outside, holding tightly to Jenna's fingers, Emily froze. His hair had grown. His face had changed. But his eyes, those were the same eyes she had left behind. Owen stared at her, not confused, not afraid, just quiet. Emily dropped to her knees. Owen, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Her voice broke. I was wrong. I was cruel. I hurt you. I left you alone. And I will never be able to fix what I did. But you deserve love. You always deserve love. Owen looked at her a long, long moment. Then he walked forward and put his small hand on her cheek. I forgive you, he said softly. Emily cried like a dam bursting. Jenna covered her mouth, tears falling silently. Nick looked away, his jaw tightening against the emotion welling in his chest. Forgiveness. Children understood it far better than adults ever could. But there was someone watching from across the street. Red lips curved into a wicked smile. "How sweet," Iris murmured. Her sunglasses reflected them. Jenna, kneeling, holding Owen, Emily, crying. "Oh, this is going to be easier than I thought." She lifted her phone. Dialed. "Move on it," she said. "Now." A car door opened behind her. A figure stepped out, as cold as she was, as willing to destroy. The first domino fell. The storm finally began. The air felt strangely still after Emily left. She had not stayed long, only long enough to hold Owen in her arms, tremble with the weight of what she had thrown away, whisper one last choked apology, and walk back through the gate with her shoulders bent and eyes swollen from crying. She did not ask for him back. She simply left. Jenna stood there for a long time after the gate closed, her hands still wrapped around Owen's small fingers, her heart unsure how to beat. Nick watched them quietly, saying nothing, only standing close, steady as stone, in case either of them needed him. Owen leaned lightly against Jenna's side. He seemed calm, not confused, not shaken, quiet, thoughtful. "Mom," he said softly. Jenna knelt and looked directly into his eyes. "Yes, baby. People make mistakes, right?" Her throat tightened. "Yes, they do. Even big ones." "Yes," she whispered. Owen nodded, his lashes lowering. "I think she's sad now." Jenna gathered him into her arms. "She is. And you were kind. That matters." Owen sighed, leaning his head on her chest. "I still choose you." The words melted her. She held him tighter. Nick looked away, not because it hurt him, but because the moment felt too sacred to witness directly. Some feelings deserved privacy, even in shared spaces. Inside the mansion, everything looked the same. Golden morning light, polished marble, quiet footsteps echoing. But the air had changed. Some emotional tides had shifted. Some doors of the heart had opened. And far away, other doors, darker ones, had begun to swing wide. Across the city, in a silent black sedan, Iris sat in the back seat, legs crossed neatly, nails painted the color of dried blood. A thin smile rested on her lips, not joy, but calculation. The man beside her was tall, dressed in a crisp black suit, posture military straight. His presence felt like a knife sheathed but ready. His name was Marcus Hale, security strategist, problem solver, cleaner. He had one specialty: ruining lives without leaving fingerprints. "Are you sure this is necessary?" Marcus asked, watching traffic glide past the window. Iris didn't look at him. "Nick is slipping," she said. "He's losing focus. That woman is turning him soft. And the boy." Her jaw clenched. "The boy is leverage." Marcus nodded once. "What's the objective?" "Destroy the bond between them," Iris said, her voice sharp and cold. "Make the boy doubt her. Make Nick doubt her. And when everything cracks..." She smiled. "I stepped back in to pick up the pieces." "And the mother?" Marcus asked. "Emily." Iris leaned back against the leather seat. "She's already ruined, but she can be useful. As a pawn." Iris's smile widened. "Exactly." Back at the mansion, the housekeeper, Mrs. Alvarez, brought tea to the sitting room, where Jenna had settled on the couch with Owen curled beside her, his head on her lap. She stroked his hair slowly, letting silence do its work. Nick entered softly. "You both okay?" he asked. Jenna nodded. "We will be." Nick hesitated, then sat beside her. Not too close, just close enough. Owen blinked sleepily and looked at Nick. "Nick, can you stay here?" Nick stilled. Jenna's heart paused. Owen continued, voice small. "I feel safe when you're here." Nick's breath left him slowly, like a man remembering how to feel. "Of course," he said. "I'm not going anywhere." Owen closed his eyes, settling again. Jenna looked at Nick, and something unspoken passed between them. Not a confession, not a promise, just truth. They were already becoming a family, and neither of them had expected it, but neither of them feared it anymore. Later that evening, Samantha drove Jenna and Owen to the small community library, promising to return before closing. Owen was excited. He loved books about dragons, maps, and planets. The library was quiet, warm, and safe. Or so it seemed. From across the street, Marcus watched them enter. He waited, patient, precise. The game had begun. Inside the children's reading room, Owen sat cross-legged on the rug, surrounded by picture books. Jenna watched him, smiling softly as he showed a book to another little girl with braided hair. "See," Owen said brightly, "dragons aren't scary. They just need friends too." The girl giggled. Jenna laughed under her breath. If kindness were a currency, Owen would be wealthier than kings. She walked to the front desk to ask about a new checkout card. And that was when Marcus moved. He crossed the room silently. Kneeling beside Owen, he kept his voice soft, gentle. "Hey there, I saw you looking at dragon books." Owen looked up, polite and curious. "Uh-huh, my nephew loves dragons too," Marcus said. "He's in the car. Would you like to meet him? He has a dragon toy that breathes real smoke." Owen's eyes widened, delighted, but he didn't stand. "Mom says I stay where she sees me." Marcus nodded. "That's good. Smart boy. She must care about you a lot." Owen smiled. "Yeah, she's my mom." Marcus's eyes flickered just slightly. "Oh, I thought your mom had brown hair and wore a red coat." Owen blinked. "That's other mom. So which one is your real mother?" Marcus asked softly. The question slid in quietly like a blade through silk. Owen's breath hitched. His heart tightened. Jenna returned just then, her steps calm, her smile warm. But Owen's world had already trembled. Marcus stood, blending into the stacks, indistinguishable among strangers. By the time Jenna reached Owen and knelt beside him, he was staring at the floor, silent. Something small and fragile inside him had shifted. A seed of doubt, exactly as Iris planned. That night, Owen barely spoke during dinner. He went to bed early. Jenna tucked him in, kissed his forehead, whispered that she loved him. He nodded, but did not look at her. When she closed the door, her chest ached. Nick saw it. He stepped to her gently. "What happened?" Jenna shook her head. "I don't know. Something changed. Someone said something." Nick's expression hardened. The storm was no longer gathering. It had arrived, and this time, they would have to fight for their family. Together. The next morning came softly, but the house felt different. Quiet. Still. The kind of quiet that didn't mean peace, but distance. Jenna awoke early, her heart already heavy before her feet touched the floor. She moved through her routine mechanically. Wash face, tie hair, step into the hallway, listening for Owen's usual morning chatter. But instead of laughter, she heard nothing. She knocked softly on his door. "Owen, baby, are you awake?" A quiet voice answered yes. She opened the door slowly. Owen sat on the edge of his bed, shoes on, backpack already beside him, hands folded in his lap. His small shoulders were drawn in tight, not relaxed the way they always were with her. Jenna's chest tightened. She crossed the room and knelt in front of him. "Hey," she said gently. "Good morning." "Good morning," he murmured without looking up. Something inside her heart broke, just a little. She cupped his chin softly and lifted his face. His eyes weren't angry. They were worried. Confused. "Baby," Jenna whispered. "What's wrong?" Owen swallowed. His voice came out very small. "Yesterday, at the library, someone asked me which one of you is my real mom." Jenna felt the world tilt. He continued, the words tumbling out fast and trembling. "And I wanted to say you. I wanted to. But what if I'm wrong? What if I'm supposed to love the other one more because she had me first? What if I'm doing it wrong?" Tears filled his eyes, big, aching tears he fought to hold back. "And I don't want to choose," he whispered, voice cracking. "I don't want to lose anyone again." Jenna gathered him into her arms before he could crumble alone. "Oh, sweetheart," she breathed, holding him tight. "You don't have to choose. You don't ever have to choose." Owen clutched her shirt, gripping her as if she was the only solid thing keeping him from falling through the world. "It's okay to love Emily," Jenna whispered into his hair. "It's okay to care about her. You are allowed to have more than one kind of love." "But who is the real one?" Owen asked, voice shaking. Jenna leaned back just enough to look into his eyes. "The real parent," she said softly, "is the one who stays. The one who protects you. The one who loves you every single day. The one you feel safe with." Owen stared at her through tears. "That's you," he whispered. Jenna smiled softly, brushing his tears away with her thumb. "And that's you," she said. "You chose me, and I chose you. That makes us real." Owen pressed his forehead against hers, their breaths mingling in a small universe of shared love and pain. There was no doubt now, but the damage had been done. A crack had formed. A seed of uncertainty had been planted, and someone had meant for that to happen. Downstairs, Nick was waiting, leaning against the kitchen counter, already dressed, tie perfectly knotted, coffee untouched. But his eyes were sharp, the eyes of a man who knew when his family was under threat. Jenna entered with Owen's hand in hers. Nick immediately noticed the red around Owen's eyes. He didn't ask. He simply knelt and opened his arms. Owen walked into him without hesitation. Nick lifted him effortlessly and held him for a long, quiet moment. "You okay, buddy?" he asked softly. Owen nodded into his shoulder. Nick didn't smile, didn't rush him, just held him, grounding him the way mountains hold the sky. When he finally set Owen down, he brushed his hair lovingly and whispered, "You don't ever have to doubt who loves you. We're right here." Owen nodded again, stronger this time, and went to grab his school things. When he was out of earshot, Jenna spoke, her voice low. "Someone was watching us yesterday." Nick's eyes hardened. "I know. You do." He nodded once. "Slow. Controlled. We got a security alert last night. A black sedan followed Samantha's car from the mansion to the library." Jenna froze. "License plates?" she whispered. Nick shook his head. "Fake. Professional." Her breath faltered. "Nick, who would do this?" Nick didn't blink. "Iris." The name fell like ice. Jenna felt her blood run cold. Nick didn't raise his voice, but there was steel under every word. "She wants to break us apart. She wants control, and she will use Owen to do it." Jenna's hand trembled, but Nick reached out, holding it firmly, grounding her the way he had grounded Owen. "She doesn't get to win," Nick said quietly. "Not this time." Jenna met his gaze. In that moment, something changed between them. Not just affection, not just care. Alliance. Unity. A family deciding to fight for itself. But far across the city, inside a sleek penthouse suite, Iris lounged back on a velvet chaise, sipping wine, sunlight gleaming in her perfectly styled hair. She was watching her phone, watching Marcus's quiet footage from the library, watching Owen's face, watching the exact moment doubt entered his eyes. Her smile widened. "Well done," she murmured. Marcus stood beside her, silent and composed. "That was only step one," he said. Iris nodded slowly. "Oh, I know." She lifted her glass, the wine glowing like rubies in the light. "To families," she said, "and how easily they break." Marcus didn't smile, but he didn't need to. The storm had already begun, and they were only just getting started. The day unfolded with a slow, uneasy rhythm. Sunlight filtered across the breakfast table in golden patches, but the warmth did not reach the air. The house was too quiet, conversations too careful. Even the sound of plates and silverware felt heavy. Owen sat between Jenna and Nick, chewing slowly, staring down at his food. He wasn't sad anymore, Jenna could tell, but he was thinking, deeply, quietly, like a child who felt the world shifting under his feet and was trying to brace before it moved again. Samantha entered quietly, her heels soft against the marble. "Car is ready for school," she said gently. Owen nodded, sliding down from his chair. He didn't run ahead like he usually did. He waited, silently, until Jenna stood and took his hand. She squeezed it. He squeezed back, but lightly. Jenna's heart ached. Nick stood beside them, a tall, steady presence, his expression thoughtful and sharp. "I'll drive today," he said. Samantha looked surprised, but nodded. They walked together to the car. Owen climbed into the back, buckled himself without being asked. Nick started the engine. Jenna sat beside Owen, one hand resting over his small knuckles the whole drive. No one spoke, not until they arrived outside the school. Parents and children bustled around them, laughing, arguing, running, shouting, but everything felt muted compared to the quiet inside the car. Owen looked at Jenna. His eyes no longer held doubt, just a heavy kind of awareness. The kind children weren't supposed to have yet. Will you be here when I get back? He asked. Jenna nodded immediately. Always. He turned to Nick. You too. Nick placed a warm hand over Owen's shoulder. You don't ever have to wonder that. Not with us. Something in Owen's chest loosened. He nodded, opened the door, and stepped out. He walked toward the school entrance, slowly at first, but when another little boy waved to him, he ran forward and joined him, laughter returning to his steps. Jenna exhaled, a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Nick tapped the steering wheel lightly, thinking, "We can't wait anymore," he said quietly. Jenna looked at him, meaning. Nick's jaw tightened. Whoever spoke to him at the library was trained. That wasn't coincidence. That was precision. Iris is escalating. Her fingers curled into her lap. We need security protocols in place, Nick continued. Home, school, library, anywhere you two go. Discreet agents, no uniforms. Just eyes. Jenna shook her head slowly. I don't want him to feel watched. I don't want him to feel hunted. Nick looked at her, really looked at her. He already is, Jenna. The truth was sharp, cold, unavoidable. She closed her eyes, then nodded. Okay. Nick eased the car back into motion, turning toward home. Later that afternoon, the mansion library. Jenna sat surrounded by stacks of children's books, sorting them into shelves, trying to regain some sense of normalcy. The smell of old pages and polished wood was familiar, grounding. But her hands trembled slightly as she worked. For the first time in her life, she was afraid of losing something she had never expected to have. Family. Not borrowed. Not temporary. Chosen. Nick entered quietly, holding 2 mugs of tea. One with honey, he said, handing one to her. She looked up, a small smile tugging at her lips. You remember that? Nick sat across from her on the couch. I remember everything. Silence settled, soft and warm this time. Jenna took a sip, letting the heat soothe her. I wish we could undo what happened, she murmured. I wish he didn't have to question something so simple. Nick leaned forward, resting his forearms on his knees. That's exactly why Iris did it. Jenna lifted her eyes. Nick's expression was calm, but his voice held fire. She can't attack us directly, not without losing. So she goes after the foundation. The bond. He shook his head slowly. She underestimates how strong that bond already is. Jenna let out a long, slow exhale. What is she after really? She asked. You? Your money? Control? Or just me gone? Nick looked at her, a deep, searching look. She wants to be the center of my world again. She wants to erase anything that replaces her. Jenna's heartbeat stumbled. Then this isn't just about Owen. No, Nick said quietly. This is about all of us. Something unspoken passed between them. A flame, a pull, a realization. Jenna looked away first, but the feeling did not fade. Later, across the city, Emily sat on a bench near a rundown motel, knees drawn to her chest, sweater sleeves pulled over her hands. Her eyes were red and swollen, mascara faintly smudged beneath them. She hadn't slept. She stared at her phone, at a picture she had taken when Owen was 3. His smile was gummy, messy, joyful, arms thrown around her neck. She touched the screen gently. I'm trying, she whispered. Please believe that I'm trying. A shadow fell over her. She startled. Marcus stood in front of her. Tall, calm, expression unreadable. Emily wiped her face quickly, embarrassed. Do I know you? No, Marcus said. His voice was smooth, controlled. But I know your son. Emily froze. A chill shot down her spine. He sat beside her slowly, not threatening, not aggressive, just present. You saw him recently, Marcus said. You did something brave. You apologized. Emily's throat tightened. I don't deserve forgiveness. Few do, Marcus replied. But you sought it anyway. That matters. Emily swallowed hard. Marcus continued, his tone so gentle it almost didn't feel dangerous. He still loves you, you know. Children don't stop loving just because adults fail. Tears spilled again. I don't deserve that love. No, Marcus said quietly. But perhaps you can earn it back. Emily lifted her eyes. Fragile hope flickered. Ow, she whispered. Marcus placed a card in her hand. An address. A time. Nothing else. Come when you're ready, he said, rising. Emily looked up at him. confused, desperate, frightened. Why are you helping me? Marcus paused. I'm not, he said. I'm simply opening a door. What you choose to do with it will define the rest of your life. He walked away. Emily stared at the card. The address belonged to someone she never expected to see again. Iris. Her hands trembled. Her heart pounded. But she didn't throw the card away. She held it tighter. Back at the mansion, Jenna stood on the balcony at sunset, watching the sky turn orange and violet. Nick stepped beside her, hands in his pockets. They watched the horizon in silence. Do you ever get tired? Jenna asked softly. Always, Nick said, but not of this. Jenna turned to him. This, she asked. Nick met her gaze, steady, real, certain. Us. The word hung between them. Not rushed, not assumed, simply true. Jenna's breath caught. She did not step back. She did not look away. And for the first time, Nick reached for her hand. No urgency, no hunger, no fear, just warmth and belonging. They stood like that, hand in hand, as the sun disappeared and night settled softly around them. A family not born, but chosen, loved, fought for, and soon tested.